Everyone, come on in because we are here for season 1, episode 2 of Somebody's Son from OWNTV. That's what we're watching, and we are on episode 2, y'all. What happened this episode? Well, I read all y'all's comments from last week, and a lot of y'all been pointing out that you think that Joshua's Auntie Oma, stand-in mama, might be a little bit of a colorist. And y'all might not be too far off the mark. I picked up on a few of it too, but I just didn't want to say nothing all the way. And I don't want to all the way call her one. I really don't want to say that. But I did notice this week the blue contacts, and some of y'all are saying that Auntie Oma is bleaching her skin. Let it not be true, y'all. Let it not be true. But last week we have Martha, the young lady from Nigeria, got let go. And this episode with a whole nother bachelor, a whole nother somebody's son, we had another young lady get let go that was also from Nigeria. These Nigerian ladies, can't catch a break. They cannot catch a break. Her name was Chasm. And although Chasm was quiet, did we think that Chasm should have gone home? I didn't. I thought they should have sent home that Brevon girl. What's her name, Brevon? Let me tell you, I did not agree with the mama this week. What was her name? Charlize. I didn't agree with Charlize. I really thought Chasm should have been able to stay. And I thought the Brevon young lady who had diarrhea of the mouth, and her son James didn't even like Brevon. And I think Brevon should have gone home. So I didn't agree with who got sent away. And I don't know if the mama chose Chasm to go home because she was quiet, and it looks like the mama is like outgoing, likes to talk. So she was more comfortable with a person who likes to talk. I don't know what would happen, but I thought it was not a good decision. We'll see how that works out. But before we get going and really get into it, because we got a lot to talk about, we got to talk about this photo shoot and Miss Chambrel and Auntie Oma, how she was egging them on with all that kissing. That was hard to watch, y'all. I got to tell you, I was a little bit, I don't know if you call it grossed out. It was cringeworthy. Let's just say that. It was very cringeworthy. And I was surprised by it all because Auntie Oma sent Martha home last week because she thought she was too forward when she was talking about, she would have sex with Joshua every single day. And Auntie Oma thought that was too forward. The next thing you know, Auntie Oma was over here egging on Chambrel to basically make out with Joshua on the stairs. They just met. So I see a lot of mixed signals here, but we're going to talk about it. But before I talk about it, I'm going to have to play my introduction video. And while it's playing, please, everybody go down and like the video, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to leave a comment down below. And then we're going to come back and really get into this Somebody's Son, season 1, episode 2 on OWNTV. All righty. See you soon. So we're back. Season 1, episode 2, Somebody's Son. They're calling this a photo finish. And the photo finish is because they had a photo shoot. And Joshua and Oma, Auntie Oma, they having a good time. They by the pool. They living up in this house. I would say that this house is nice. I would say this. I don't know where the money came from with OWNTV. I don't know where the money came from, but they found some money because I tell you, for them to have all these different couples, and I say couples, these men entertaining ladies in 3 separate houses, we're going to see for the first time, OWNTV has a budget. They are spending some money on this show, so we better hope it works out for them because somebody gonna have to account for all this money they spending. For the first time, we are really seeing them open up their pocketbooks. So when they went back and started looking at Joshua and Auntie Oma again with her blue contacts, and as y'all say, she got some bleached skin. Say it ain't so. Say it. How y'all know her skin is bleached? That's what I want to know. I want to know, how can you tell a person's skin is bleached? Because it all looks like one even tone color to me. I thought maybe people with bleach skin, there's one skin tone here, but then the neck's a different color, or her ears are a different color. Y'all need to educate me, because from what you guys are telling me, bleaching skin has become very, very popular in Africa, unfortunately, and is being done by a lot of people. So I need to find out. Y'all need to let me know. Do they rub it all over their bodies or what? I need to know what's going on. I remember back in the day, they accused Michael Jackson of doing that. But later on, we found out he really did have vitiligo. So we just hope Auntie Oma didn't have any colorism when it came to sending Martha home last time. But she is sporting some fake contacts, because what we do know is, I don't know if she bleaching her skin, but I do know that her eyes ain't naturally blue. That I do know. But they end up having a photo shoot, because what they wanted to see was, is there any natural compatibility, attraction? Is there any on screen, or on, not screen, but what do you want to call it? Chemistry between the ladies and Joshua. And Chambrell is already liking Joshua. A lot of the ladies like him. Chambrell says, he's down to earth. That's what she likes about him. And he's not doing anything creepy like give me a hug. Well, later on, she gives him more than a hug. She gives him several kisses. Tamaris is saying that she didn't know how this episode or this whole experiment was going to work, but she's pleasantly surprised that she gets along with the women. It's not a lot of cattiness. It's not a lot of jealousy. Not yet. Let's hope it stays that way. So they're all looking forward to this photo shoot. And when the photo shoot comes about, Lexi is the first person who comes down in her new photo shoot outfit. And I got to tell you, of all the ladies, Lexi was dressed the most like a mom. She was dressed kind of like a mom trying to be sexy. But yeah, the outfit wasn't given. Now, I don't want to, rag on it too much, because I don't know if the ladies knew to bring an outfit for a photo shoot. And I don't know if that's the best that Lexi had in her suitcase. But it wasn't really, to me, it wasn't photo shoot ready. But then when Chambrell came out, I said, Chambrell is a one-trick pony. She wear the same old outfit, right? Last time it was the booty shorts with the, what do you call it? The bustier. I don't know what it's called. The strapless that really ain't holding up her breast. And this time she came out in the same old outfit. And I thought, Chambrell doesn't really know how to dress to her body type. She probably needs to figure out how to be sexy, but also wear something that also complements her body type. And I don't think she's quite figured that out. Of all the young ladies, I actually thought that Tamaris's outfit was the most, I thought it was, even though she was covered up, I still thought it was sexy. It was body, it showed her nice figure. I thought it was also more classy. Chambrell's outfit kind of still reminded me of, it was just like a little trashy. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little bit trashy. Now, Lexus was the one that went first with the photo shoot. And we thought that they were doing a little bit too much, because, he was throwing Lexi up on the countertop and spreading her legs, and, they had whipped cream, and they was doing a lot. They were doing a whole lot, and Tamaris and Chambrell were sitting there looking at it at the moment and saying, I don't know if we could top this girl. They doing a lot. I don't know if our photo shoot is going to be any better than Lexi. But lo and behold, by the time it came time for Chambrell to do her thing, she said, I'm going to take this up a notch. And the amount of kissing that she and Joshua were doing, like I said, it was a little bit cringeworthy for me. I didn't like it. And then I also thought it was weird that Auntie Oma was egging it on. I thought that was weird too. And I started to think to myself, well, here is Auntie Oma egging on Chambrell So maybe she isn't a colorist. She's egging her on, like, yeah, girl, do your thing, turn it out. But then something about it started to feel a little trashy to me. And then I started to think, I wonder, are they using Chambrel? Right? I started to feel real different about it. I almost felt like Chambrel was being a bit exploited. I ain't gonna lie. That's sort of like almost as if Auntie Oma wasn't really rooting for her, but she's almost like cheering for Chambrel to kind of make a fool out of herself. Because I really thought that Chambrel went a little too far. I know she was trying to, I guess, win the contest because based on whoever has the best pictures, they're going to get a date. But I think Chambrel ventured over into a bit trashy, and maybe Auntie Oma doesn't really like Chambrel anyway, so she was egging her on in a way in which I guess it kind of just means that does she really want her there? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see who wins the date because Tamaris's date, not Tamaris's date, but her photo shoot didn't really go that well because I get Tamaris. Tamaris is still my favorite. Tamaris is still showing up with some class. And I think what Tamaris said was, I really didn't like what he did with Lexi, with the whipped cream and all that. And I didn't really like what he did with Chambrel, but I'm going to try and give this a good old college girl try. And I think she tried to get with it, but you could tell she was very uncomfortable. She was a bit stiff. And I get why. And then he was trying to kiss on her too. And she was like, She was turning her face away saying, you're not kissing me after you just had your lips on Chambrel. She was right. Go wash your mouth out. I really like that Chambrel did that. And I'm not Chambrel, Tamaris did that. And she was willing to do it, even if it didn't appeal to Joshua. I know we've been saying Joshua's only 28. Is he mature enough to do what he says he wants to do, which is settle down with one woman? And honestly, the way he kind of acted out with Chambrel, it was kind of an immature move. I thought it was. I thought he should have pulled back the reins on that. And I don't think that he was respectful enough to the other women, especially Tamaris, who was coming next. I thought he really dropped the ball, which is so interesting because the first episode, he seemed like he had pretty decent manners, and it looks like he's been raised with a certain standard. But I tell you, this episode, he and Auntie Oma acted out a lot. They really acted up in this photo shoot, and it wasn't a good look for either one of them. I'm going to tell you right now, Auntie Oma didn't look good, and neither did Joshua. So we didn't get to find out who won the photo shoot. We're going to find out. Who y'all think won? Who do you think won? Do you think he's going to give it to Chambrel? I don't think so. I don't think Chambrel is going to win because in a lot of ways, like I said, I almost feel like the joke was on Chambrel. I'm not going to lie, y'all. It feels like one of those situations, those situations where, let's say people are laughing. They're really not laughing with you. They're laughing at you. For some reason with Chambrel, it felt like they were allowing this girl, this woman, to put herself out like that and go down bad. And even though they were hyping her up and telling her all these good things, I think it was actually the negative effect. So I think in between the two is really only going to be between Lexi and Tamaris. And I think because Tamaris held back so much, I imagine that it's going to end up being Lexi, even though Lexi is the one now that has the children that isn't supposedly ideal partner for Joshua. We'll get to see. But right now, my prediction is going to be is Lexi. I could be wrong. But that's going to be my prediction. And let me tell you something. If I end up predicting it right, and I don't even have to get it right between Tamaris and Lexi, if I end up predicting it right, that the winner is not Chambrel. And of all the ladies who went the hardest, Chambrel went the hardest. If she doesn't actually win, I think some of what I said, I'm going to start believing anymore because she really tried to layer it on real thick. And I'm going to see Um, were they laughing with her or were they laughing at her? That's what I want to know. But also, this episode, we got to meet James. James was a 30-year-old cybersecurity engineer, and he said he wants a partner to build a legacy with. And I started thinking, well, when he said that, I said he should be getting with Tamaris. That's what I was thinking. They might need to do a little bit of not wife swap. What is this? Girlfriend swap? Because he seemed like he would do better with Tamaris. But he had a mom. Her name is Charlize. And he said that he's ready to settle down and get a partner. And Miss Charlize said that she had to pray away a lot of undesirable women. She said she called them rescues. I was like, rescues? Like they're rescue puppies? Basically, I guess she's saying that James likes to bring home the weak and the wounded. Okay? And Miss Charlize does not want her son bringing home the weak and the wounded, so she's had to pray them away. Pray them away. And James says he thinks his mama wants him to be a mama's boy, but he's refusing to be one. We'll see, James. We'll see. But he does believe that his mother is going to need a few bit of boundaries because it sounds like the mother knows how to overstep boundaries. And that's why in the end, I believe she chose Brevon to stay and Chasm to leave. Because I think that mother was trying to choose a person who's more outgoing like herself as opposed to what her son may want. And based on the dynamic that I saw between Miss Charlize and her son, James, he seems to be wanting the complete opposite of his mother. His mother seems very demure. James seems to want a woman that's a little bit more risque because I think that's why he was attracted to, what was the lady's name that he was attracted to? Alyssa, right? Alyssa's beautiful. And even when he saw Alyssa, he really liked Alyssa. And I thought he would be a little bit deterred by the fact that Alicia says she works the nightclub scene, the nightlife. And I thought James looks like this sort of straight-laced man, engineer, maybe a little bit nerdy back in the day. Maybe he's, trying to come out of that. But his mother looked like she raised him to a certain standard. But now he likes to hang out with more risque type women, which is the opposite of his mother. Sometimes sons want to date their mother, and sometimes they want the complete opposite of their mother. And what I'm getting from James is he wants the complete opposite of his mother. He actually doesn't want a woman that talks as much as his mother. And I don't think he wants a woman that's also as sort of buttoned up, tight-laced, proper as his mother. So there's a good chance that Miss Charlize is going to have a problem with who James wants to bring home because James is all about, as he says, he wants to have fun and she needs to look good. Now, all the ladies that came through the door, I have to admit, they were all very nice looking women. Brevon was the first lady to come through. She's 31. She's an entrepreneur. She runs a bunch of Airbnbs. She's from LA, Compton, California, and now she's living in Houston. So she invests in properties, and she kind of considers herself the hostess with the mostest. And a lot of people, she says she's still single because she's really particular and she knows what she wants. I really wish people would stop saying this. I really wish single women would stop going around and saying that the reason why they're single is because they're really particular, they know what they want, and they're not willing to settle. Because in a lot of ways, it infers that people who do get married, all those people are not particular, they have low standards, and they don't know what they want, and so they settle. I know they're not saying that directly, but that's a lot of time of what you hear. They don't come up with any other reason of why they might be settled. It all has to do with the reason why I'm single is because I keep my standards high and everybody else out here getting married, they're willing to lower theirs. No, Brevon, because it didn't take us long to figure out why you still might be single. Because a lot of Brevon's conversation, I believe a lot of people will get irritated by it. They will get irritated by it. Men already say that women talk too much and we use too many words. I mean, how many times do I have people coming down to my comments telling me that I talk too much and I repeat myself too much? Good thing I ain't married to y'all. But the minute that Brevon came in the door, the mom, Charlize, said, girl, fix your dress. Fix your dress. And like I said, I think the woman that Charlize is looking for her son, he ain't looking for that same woman. Not at all. Because then we had Sabrina come through. She's 29. Once again, another very good looking woman, a property manager. She's very family oriented. She likes working out, traveling, and cooking. Charlize loved her. She thought she was wonderful. But as you go through the episode, you could see that what James said about Sabrine or whatever, I forget her name, was that she looks good on paper, but he didn't feel the spark with her. And that's because she was a bit reserved. She didn't show that wild side of her that I think James wants. James is giving me a little bit of the square, nerdy type guy, but now that he's out here in the world and making a little money, he now wants to date women that he might not have had access to before. Because although he's good looking, I believe there was some nerdiness to him. And now he's thinking, I couple this with my money, which he might make a little, he might make a little bit of a nice coin. And he now wants access to a few more of these fast women that he didn't used to have access to. The only thing that Charlize didn't like about Sabrina was that she had, I think, a belly button piercing. And Miss Buttoned Up Square, Miss Charlize said she not into no body piercing. Girl, you're going to have a hard time getting a daughter-in-law because nowadays they going to come with a body piercing, a tattoo, something. I don't know, Miss Charlize. But by the time Alyssa walked through the door, another beautiful young lady, 25 years old, a digital marketing coordinator. And I'll say this, Alyssa is pretty, but I thought she was older than 25. I'm not going to lie. Alyssa, I thought, was about early 30s. That's what I was picking up about her. So she doesn't look old. She just looks older than 25. I was really surprised that she was only 25. But she wants a chivalrous guy. And another person, she's single because she is picky and she's not going to settle. Girl, this can't be the only reason, people. If you just hold on to this as your only reason, you're going to miss something. You are going to miss something. Miss Charlize didn't like Alyssa. Not really. Because what she didn't like Alyssa is that she didn't like her job, which she was a nighttime host for nightclubs. And honestly, once she said what she did, I don't think James liked it either. But what I think James liked was her looks. And he said that's the type he normally goes for. And what Miss Charlize was saying was she didn't think that Alyssa was keeping it real. She thought she was presenting sort of a facade. And she also didn't like that Alyssa makes her money off of her looks. I felt like she didn't respect that. I don't think, not in the way as which, like, say, who makes money off their looks, like maybe a model. She didn't like the fact that Alyssa made money off her looks in the nightclub, nighttime business. And I'm not for sure how well James would do with that either in the long run. I don't. I think he is thinking short term himself, but we shall see because he thinks that they have the best chemistry of everything. And then when Miss Chasm came, who's 28, she was well put together as well, very good looking lady as well. And she's an IT consultant, so they're both in the tech field. They have that in common. And she's also a fitness instructor. So her body was tight. But I could tell when she walked in that James didn't have the same visceral attraction to Chasm that he had when he saw Alyssa. He has a type. And although he respected Chasm, he liked the fact that they had similar type tech type jobs and they could connect on that. He didn't fight for her much in the very end. The only person he was fighting to stay the most was Alyssa, because the mom was even considering sending her home. And honestly, I really feel like Brevon should have been the one that went home and that they kept Chasm. But maybe Chasm was just too quiet and maybe she wasn't going to make for good TV. I really don't know. I really wish she would have been given more of a chance. I'm starting to think that this show, Somebody's Son, is kind of like Ready to Love, where people got eliminated on the first date and we're like, that's too soon to eliminate a person. Like, at least give them one day, and then after that one day, then pick someone. But just off of this brief little encounter, I felt it was really too soon. I like Chasm. I was hoping that she could stay. She walked with confidence. She talked about how she was from Memphis and she was born in Brooklyn, and she's from Nigeria. She's part of the Igbo tribe. You know, my sister did our 23andMe, Ancestry.com, and we find out we were from the Igbo tribe too. But I remember when I found out that was our tribe on my father's side, they said that there weren't that many Igbos. Like, it was like the least percent in Africa, or not one of the least percent. It wasn't a high percent in Nigeria. But every time I watch one of these reality shows and we hear that somebody's from Nigeria, they all say they're from the Igbo tribe. So I'm like, is it a lot of them or not? Somebody let me know. But anyway, I guess she's my tribes lady. What do you call it? My tribes person, my tribesman? I don't know. But the mom says that she knew that her son liked Alyssa. So even though she said Alyssa is still in them streets. Alyssa is still in them streets, because what she's saying is Alyssa is still making her money off her looks and her body, and the mother does not respect that. She doesn't respect it. But before the mother chose, she did ask him a couple of questions about, you know, what were their longest relationships. Chasm had a 3-year relationship. She said it was lovely. Then Brevon went on a long-winded explanation. I was like, girl, get to the answer. Get to the answer. She said she was raised strict because she was PK's child, I believe. But even that mama, when she finished talking, had a little snappy comment to make about Brevon and saying, well, I wasn't looking for all that. You see, this is what I'm getting to. I think that mama, Charlize, she got a little bit of edge to her. And to be honest with you, her son is not a fan of it. So when Charlize is over here trying to look for a woman that's as talkative as her and who's as buttoned up as her son is actually looking for the opposite. He don't really want a woman that got all that lip. Miss Charlize got a little bit of bite on her. When they started asking the question about how do you think you should handle finances, Alyssa said that she believes that bank accounts, they should have at least one joint bank account, because Alyssa said that she is a spoiled princess. Girl, who is spoiling you? Them tips at when you doing the bottle service? Who is spoiling you? Okay? Unless she's talking about she spoils herself, I'm not for sure how you were a spoiled princess. Does she mean her daddy? Her mama? Who is spoiling you? Yourself? The men giving you tips? I want to know. But she said what she wants is she does want a protector. She wants a provider. She wants stability. And Sabrinae said that she's really close to her parents and she talks and goes over her parents' house every other day. And that was a turnoff for James. Because like I said, James is trying to get distance with his mother. He doesn't really want a woman that wants to be hanging around their mother, because he's trying to hang around his mother less. James, I'm telling you, James is looking for a freak. I see it already. But Alyssa and the mom got into a pretty interesting conversation when it came to spirituality. Alyssa was telling the side story about her mom had cancer. And she talked about her father and how he's spiritual but not religious. And Miss Charlize has some strong boundaries around religion and that faith in God is very important. So she liked Sabrinae for that reason. She said, you must believe in Jesus. But what you noticed was that James didn't speak up. James didn't speak up at all. So I'm not for sure if James's mom, Miss Charlize, is going to be able to choose a woman that James likes. So either the mama's going to have to come around or James is going to kind of have to come around. They're going to have to meet somewhere in the beginning because honestly, right now, I feel like they are on two ends of the pole right now. So they said goodbye to Chasm because they said that she was too quiet. But I think she handled it, her rejection and her elimination with dignity. At least she wasn't like Martha last week, where Martha got a bit rude. And then they got to find out that the mama's going to be living with them for the rest of this season. And they were all a little bit uncomfortable, except for Sabrina, because Sabrina is used to being around the mamas. So we shall see, y'all. We shall see what's going to go on. I think we got to get introduced to one more son, somebody's son next week. And after that, I guess we're going to move on to seeing how these couples or potential couples are starting to line up. But right now, I got to say that both men, I feel like they're leaning heavily on looks. Like I said, I do know that looks is number one in a man's category. He has to think that you're good looking. He has to be attracted. So although James is most attracted to Alyssa, it's going to be interesting to see if the other ladies who are also attractive, if their other characteristics start to outshine the other parts of Alyssa, or does Alyssa still continue to shine in James's eyes? So we shall see. So I'm looking forward to next week to see what's going to go on with James and Alyssa. And I'm also looking forward next week to see who gets chosen for the best picture with Joshua. Anyway, that's it, y'all. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.